Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. And I am so excited. We're continuing our episode. I talk about financial literacy, and right now, get your money right. And basically, the whole podcast is based around the talk, the conversation I wish I had. We are in season 2. Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water into wine. We are in season 2, episode 14. And we're continuing our series of talking about financial literacy. And we talk about the talk, the conversations I wish I had when I was young. And over this weekend, I had the privilege of attending a graduation. I was invited by my godfather, who's 92 years old, who is a professor emeritus at the Norfolk State University. Just being in the atmosphere, all the pageantry of the students marching in, the faculty marching in, we're doing the national anthem, the choir, the gospel choir singing, all this pageantry. And I'm thinking to myself, with all the big mamas and big daddies, the uncles and aunts are, in attendance, all the children's running around and all the T-shirts and the banners and the posters, all this pageantry. And I'm wondering, back when I was sitting in the seats of the graduate, what I know now, wish I knew at that time. And basically, I want to talk about some of the things that I've learned over the course of the years. And I want to separate it in 3 ways: relationship, careers, and spouses. One of the things that I wish I had done is I really show my family I really appreciated them. Thanks and gratitude. But if I went back into the time capsule, some of the things that I would have done, I would have definitely told my mother I loved her, I appreciated her. She did the best she could. I'm the youngest of 6 children. And believe it or not, I am not the first one that went to college, but I'm the first graduate of college. And how proud she was at that moment. And, if I could go back in time and just give her a bigger squeeze than I did before, because now I appreciate what she did and what she had accomplished prior to then. Let me give you a little illustration. My mother dropped out of high school in the 11th grade, and she was able all of her children graduated from high school, and 3 of them graduated from college. And I was able to actually get my master's and PhD. And I am still haven't fulfilled what she did in life, even as a PhD. So that's one of the things, being family. And one of them, I had a sister who really took care of me. If you, 3 or 4 kids or a family of 6, you always have one of the siblings that you're closer to in any relationship and family who help you matriculate through school. So looking back on that time, I would really let her know that I was proud of her and how she helped me part of the graduation. So, during college, you probably, been a part of a sorority or fraternity. Some of the people that you were still keep in contact, and there's some people that kind of get lost in the shuffle. So some of the relationships is really what I want to emphasize. Take advantage of some of those relationships, because you're going to have doctors, lawyers, astronauts, military generals, etc. And you need to keep in contact with some of those people, because to me, I put it this way: network is a new currency. So as much as you can keep in contact with those individuals, the better. And something, if you play sports, everybody's not going to make it to the NFL or NBA or MLBA, et cetera, et cetera. But there's going to be a few people that you can keep in contact. So just imagine, and I give this illustration of LeBron James, the four other people of his high school teammates, he still can't stay in touch with, and they help him elevate to where he is today. And business wise, management wise, some of these guys are still coaching in business, and some are entered part of his school that he did in Akron. So all the relationships that you have developed over the time is going to be important for you. So take advantage of that. Let's talk about careers. One of the things that I made a point of, because I heard this statistic, they said that 90% of the graduates would not work in the field that they got their degree in. Well, I wanted to change that. So I from a period of time, I was a production department manager because I was a business administration, business management graduate. So I really wanted to break that statistic. Of course, I went into the military and then I went into law enforcement. But my point is that you have to realize that basically, career-wise, you are me Inc. And what I mean by that is basically the finance, marketing, management, personnel. You have to do that for yourself. You're going to have to create a management plan and a financial plan and a marketing plan. And what I mean by that, okay, when you fill out those applications or you pass out your resume, that's marketing. And the information you put on there, basically, that's your management and your personnel. And you're going to have to deal with your own finance and all that. So the same emphasis that you put in a corporation, you do need to make sure that you put that same energy, bring that same energy as one of my young people tell me, use that same energy that you can put into somebody else, put it into yourself. Make sure that you take advantage of all the internship, especially if you're working on your master's. Instead of taking a gap year, make sure that gap year, if you're not working on your career, work on an internship to maximize what your career goals are going to be. And of course, whether you're, whatever your degree is, my advice would be have a trade. One of the things that what I'm doing right now, I'm a real estate developer, a real estate investor, and I have an apartment building. Now, instead of calling a plumber, there's some things that I can do, put in, the plumbing, and I did my own hardwood floors. I did my own painting. I did a minor construction stuff. So if you can actually have a trade along with your other professional credentials, it would be better because, of course, YouTube is, I'm a genius right now because of YouTube. So you can actually use those trade things to benefit where you're going. The next thing that I want to talk about as far as mentors, seek out your mentors in the field that you aspire to do. I would say, I wish there were more mentors that are more accessible, but it's your job and your duty to actually seek out somebody that basically they can pour back into you. They are out there, but there may be far in between. I mean, if you see somebody who's an astronaut, there's a several Black astronauts out there, and I'm quite sure they'll be willing to, pour into you. One of the things that I like sports, and I've seen basically because the NFL draft just happened a couple of weeks ago, the NBA draft is coming up. Those guys, if they feel that they have potential, they get extra training. They work on their 40 time, they work on their weightlifting, they work on their vertical jump. As if you are interested in business, you will have to put the same energy to find somebody who's doing what you want to do. As I just told you, I'm in real estate and basically I have some property. So if you are in that field or have the desire to be in that field, you would probably reach out to me because basically, you can actually, somebody can show you the ropes of do's and don'ts. And there's other people that are interested and that have the financial accruement to help you along the way, because the field has well, let me put it this way. 4 years ago, there was a pandemic. The pandemic changed everything about business, about networking, about the whole gamut. And let me share this with you. The iPhone that you started with in school is outdated now. Think about that. The iPhone that you had when you entered as your freshman year, there's been at least 3 or 4 versions of that iPhone. So what you want to do, and I'm quite sure the academic community is going to really get on me for saying this. The information that you got 4 years ago is dated. The information you got 4 years ago is dated. The world has changed. That's fast. So basically, you need to have somebody who actually doing what you're doing and has kept up with the times. Even I have a friend who's a doctor. Each year, he has to go back and get certain certifications to make sure that he's on the cutting edge of what's going on next. That's my advice as far as that. Find you a mentor. Now, here's the last one, before I get into some hodgepodge and some other category, is your spouse. But besides your belief system, which means that whatever religion that you are going to practice, whatever career choice that you choose, your spouse is the next most important thing that you're going to actually entertain. Now, one of the things that, I always had a gift of, actually I do an interview, I have a conversation, but actually I do interviews and I call it talk, because basically if your God and your career and your significant other will either make you or break you. And one of the things that you have to make sure you get that conversation started early. And 9 times out of 10, the person that you date in college, whether you see them next couple of years or not, most people go full circle and come back to that individual, because basically you probably have a relationship with that person. So we need to have that talk. Now, religion, politics, and money are the conversations that a lot of people don't want to get entertained. But those are most of the critical things that will make or break your relationship. Divorce, they said over 70% of divorce are caused because of money. Now, I can even break that down a little further, but that's another topic for another time. But that is the conversation we need to have. They said basically savers are really attracted to spenders. And that might be a sticking point, but my point is that once you get that conversation out and once you understand that person's personality, then you can know how to actually deal with that. Because if my talk of my show is get your money right, if you don't have that thing solved, it will bring, it's almost like bombs going off, a time bomb later. And just because from a male point of view, you're looking at somebody's hips, lips, and fingertips, that eventually fades. But I got to take a break right now. I know that was a little juicy tidbit, but after this commercial break, we're going to get back into what to look for in a spouse or having that conversation. Hey, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is Dr. Ron Smith Investigate Show. We are at halftime, and I just got a juicy piece of information, and basically that, hey, when you combine 2 people together, you just have created a new corporation. Remember, I told you basically you are Me Inc. And now two Me Incs are combining hopefully assets. With that, let me share this point. Let's say that I'm engaged to an individual. In order for us to actually build, let's say, a war chest, let's say basically we decided that I'm gonna buy a fourplex and you're gonna buy a fourplex before you get married. Because basically what we want to do is bring assets into this corporation. And basically I'm talking about in hindsight, if I know what I know now, if I know then, we would be multimillionaires right now. And it's not too late, because basically every week I share some ideas about how we can do that. But think about it, two single people, because basically anything more than a fourplex, you have to get a commercial loan. But anything less than a fourplex, you can do it on the same conventional loans. And basically, while you're young, you don't have as much, let's say, negative impacts on your credit score. And hopefully you didn't max out that credit score while you was in college. That's one of the things that happened to me, because nobody told me about credit utilization and actually how to use that. And I give the illustration, basically, if I get a $1,000 line of credit, basically I need to keep it in within, I would say 25%. 30% is acceptable, but what you want to do is keep it within 25%. Imagine if both of you guys, while you're dating, you met as freshmen, at sophomore year, you get a little serious. Junior year, you say, hey, this is the one. Yes, I'm the one. So now we need to develop this plan of how we're going to attack the world. Because basically, yes, that's the terminology that I use. Yes, you need to attack the world, because basically, I don't like to use the word predators, but basically there are predators out there who are willing to set you up. And what I mean by that, they're going to give me a $5,000 limit credit card, and I don't even have a job. Think about that. And they don't even care if I graduated from college or not, because even if I drop out of school, I still owe that money. The same thing is if I get a student loan. If I drop out of school my sophomore year, whatever that student loan is, I still owe it. So those are the things that the conversation I wish I had, and the conversation that I'm putting out there right now. So let's think about that. Both of us have fourplexes. So basically now we have assets that we move into the marriage, the corporation. Now, with that the cash flow from both of those fourplex would get that house that she wants. One of the things that my wife watched HGTV, and I call it housing porn, because basically they show you all these things, but they don't tell you. They tell you about what this costs, what that costs, what's that cost. This is what the renovation costs, and this is how much we put into, and this is how much we get at the end. They never tell you about the labor costs. And they don't never tell you about, okay, sometimes they tell you about, now we got to tear, this low-bearing beam out. We got to tear that out, and then we can't continue the project. But they don't tell you, sometimes they tell you about the permit process that you run into sometimes. And then after, 40 minutes, we live happily ever after. But there's a whole lot of stuff that you need to know before you even get involved with that thing. So basically the same thing about the relationship. Now there, I feel that basically, even if we have similar, mindsets about, hey, this is how we're going to raise our children, and this is the church that we're going to raise our children in, that need to be discussed. Because basically, just because, you look good and you're smelling good at the time, now I see your real attitude coming out. And basically, when you are raised a certain way where your parents were spendthrifts, and then basically you meet somebody who have retail therapy without looking at the budget, then you're going to run into some problems. And whether you're a Democrat, you marry a Republican or a liberal, and if you don't flesh those things out, what else are you going to talk about after the sex? After the honeymoon. See, that's where the real, the honeymoons will be great. I can hold my breath and you don't never know my breath stinking over the weekend. But what about Monday through Saturdays when actually, those habits that we don't discuss, those are the minefields that you need to talk about. Now, I know I'm sharing a whole lot of stuff, and basically, I wish somebody had told me about this. So, in a nutshell, your relationships is important. Your career choices are important, as well as your spouse. Those are the things that really going to make you who you are. Yeah, and when you get married, they said to death do us part. Sickness as health and rich and poor. That's, believe it or not, I didn't even hear anything that on my wedding day. I had to go to 3 or 4 different weddings, and I said, boy, did I agree to that? And my point is, those are the things that basically, we go to marriage counseling, and since we hold in hand and everything is going well, we don't even consider those things that basically, I might have to be, this person caregiver down the road. And I need to understand that I have to be with this person, and can I be with this person in the worst conditions that she can actually possibly be in? And the answer should be yes. Now, I know sometimes people say, hey, I didn't sign up for this. But if you listen to those vows, yes, you did. Of course, some people take something else. I ain't going to obey. Well, if you can't obey them, then you need to keep on stepping. That's just the way it is. And if you marry to a tyrant that that this person is my way or no way, you need to know that up front too. So basically, that would determine your decision. But you only would know that through the conversation. And we're talking about not the skirting the issue. Sometimes you have to ask some serious questions. And some people, you need to run away. You need to run away. I don't want you to go through 2 or 3 relationships before you realize that. That's one of the conversations I wish I had. Next thing I want to talk about, your health is your wealth. There was an example of this guy told me, and he shared, it was like in a group setting. He said that, okay, in life, you ain't going to get but one car. And how would you treat that car? You're going to do the maintenance on it. You make sure the oil change. You're going to do all that, you're going to wash it, take care of it, et cetera, et cetera. He said, basically, your health is the same way. You ain't going to get but one body. So you're going to have to make sure this lasts your lifetime. You can't be abusing it with alcohol and drugs and all this kind of stuff and think, okay, you're in your 20s and you're in your 30s, and then 30, 40 years from now, you can't keep up with that same routine, putting junk food in there. Right now, this is the best time actually to be a vegan, because now they have all these restaurants, they have all these recipes, and have all the stuff that you can buy in a grocery store that didn't even have 10 years ago. So you can easier take care of your body today than you did when I was in college. And basically, here's some things. And I'm going to get in details about money, but I want to just throw this out. The only thing that they taught me in college or in high school was basically set up a bank account and, a savings account, a checking account, and maybe an investment account. Well, all those things is all well and good, but banks don't give you much in your savings. And plus, for every $10 you put in there, they're going to reinvest $9 out of that and sell it to somebody else anyway. So that's one of the first things you need to learn is that how can I get a part of that? But online banking should probably be the best way to go, because right now there's a couple. I thought I'm gonna name drops because basically, hopefully, they'll be one of my sponsors. SoFi Bank and Ally Banks are probably the best savings. Give you the best savings, 4.6 and 5.5. I think my bank direct. So, I did a whole segment on 401ks. So, because once you get into a corporation, most of the times they're going to ask you, this is their pension plan. We've been hoodwinked and bamboozled that corporations don't pay pensions now. And I think this was a part of setup, which means, if you go back to about episode number 8, I talked about the 401k, it's a setup. How can you, without financial education, really know what the stock market is, or bond market is, and money market is? And basically, the 401k is basically based on mutual funds, which is you own a percentage of IBM, a percentage of, General Dynamics, a percentage of that. So, and I said, basically, that's a setup. But if that's the only thing that you have in place, make sure you match out. I know one time when I was working for the last corporation, they gave me a 4% matching thing. But here's the hack to that. You can take that 401k and put in a self-directed 401k. And actually, you put in a self-directed real estate plan, as long as you don't receive any residual from that until basically you're 59 and a half, it's a tax advantage. One of the difference in 401k and IRA is basically 401k is the delayed taxes. IRA is basically you tax out front, but you don't get the matching funds. So basically, that's a real difference in that. There's a 529 plan also that basically you can actually take a part of, and basically you can set that up for your children. Wow, my time is really moving. So, and I got so much to say. But here's the thing that I want to talk about at the last couple of minutes is the 5 basic fundamentals. And basically, I as I said in other shows, is that basically you have to earn and create your income. It has to need to be steady income. You have to learn how to manage it. You have to learn how to protect it, leverage it, and also leave a legacy. And basically, even though you might be working as a career or you might be an entrepreneur, basically that you have to create the cash flow to be able to manage. And manage is basically you have to understand where your income and expenses are. And basically that's where the cash flow. If you get a good handle on that, you can basically then you could drop back and start building some assets, eliminating your liabilities. And protection, make sure you have to have insurance. Car, health, house, lodging, and look at long-term insurance. Leverage is actually OPM, using other people's money. It'd be great if you could buy that Mercedes-Benz, cash. It'd be great if you could buy that house cash. But under circumstances, basically, everyone can't do that. And I know a lot of people say you don't want to get into debt and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to, I want to live in a 2-bedroom apartment, with 2 kids. So basically, I have to create a way to basically buy a home. There's the pros and cons for buying a home. But to me, if you're just building a career, that is one of the best investments you can have. And also basically is also be a investment for your legacy. Okay, speaking of legacy, since my time is moving fast, get life insurance policy. Even if I have to end the show on that, get life insurance policy. Basically, that is the best way to leave a legacy for your family. And here's the other thing. Do not walk away out of that office with less than $1 million policy. Believe it or not, $1 million policy will cost you a couple of dollars more than that 50,000 or that 20,000, etc. And actually, I will, share with you that I would probably prefer to buy a insurance policy for $1 million, overriding what 401k for my retirement. Because if you get the right kind of insurance, basically you can create your own bank, which means that basically you get a loan from your cash value. That is a quick and fast get your money right as for the college graduate. And I'm going to probably continue this one because, I'm excited. I was excited to see the kids graduate, but my only concern with what's the next step and who actually are mentoring our kids to share the information that I just shared with you. My time is up, and I thank you for yours.